Hello and welcome to Study Legal English. I'm your host Louise, and today I'm going to read an extract from an article all about mergers and acquisitions. The article was written by Claire Consoli, an associate in the corporate team at Skadden LLP, which is a multinational law firm acting in many different areas. You can check them out at www.skadden.com. The article was published on the Lex 100 website. You can access it at bit.ly/M&A 2020. Lex 100 is a great website for law students, so do check it out. I'll leave all the links in the show notes. So today we'll be looking at what an M&A is, what M&A lawyers do, and the realities of the job. Before we get started, I've got a quick question for you listeners, and that is, do you work in, or would you like to work in, the area of mergers and acquisitions? If you do, or if you would like to, why? Why did you choose this area? Let me know. Send me an email to louise@studylegalenglish.com or join in the conversation on social media. Just to search for Study Legal English. So let's go. In a nutshell, solicitors who specialise in M&A, mergers and acquisitions, advise clients on the sale and purchase of companies or their assets. The sectors and types of transactions involved vary greatly, from complex multi-billion-dollar cross-border mergers involving the combination of multinational conglomerates to startups undertaking smaller domestic acquisitions. So, what is M&A? An M&A practice at a law firm generally forms part of the broader corporate department, which might also include capital markets, private equity, and restructuring teams. It's a transactional practice area, which means that you won't find M&A lawyers in court or appearing before tribunals. They will be busy negotiating and executing deals. M&A practitioners often choose to specialise in either public M&As, which involve public companies whose shares are listed and traded on the stock exchange, or private M&As relating to private companies whose shares are not publicly traded, but rather held by a more limited number of entities or individuals. It's true that every deal and every client is different, which allows M&A lawyers to continue learning from each transaction they work on. So, what do M&A lawyers do? Well, there will often be numerous advisors and parties involved in an M&A transaction, including investment banks or boutique advisory firms acting as financial advisors, tax advisors, accountants, PR consultancy firms, and of course, at least two law firms, one who acts for the buyer and another who acts for the seller. M&A lawyers often help to manage and coordinate the various parties and work streams, and will be primarily responsible for drafting and negotiating the principal transactional documents for the deal and liaising with specialist teams such as tax, pensions, competition or antitrust, and regulatory. If the transaction involves other jurisdictions outside the UK, the M&A team will also coordinate with legal counsel in the relevant countries for the necessary local law advice. When a new deal kicks off, trainees can expect to carry out legal due diligence, or DD, which will likely involve contract review to check for problematic clauses, verifying the corporate structure and ownership of a target group, summarising any material litigation, and coordinating input from other specialists. The due diligence process is critical in helping the client and the rest of the deal team understand key legal risks to be addressed in the transaction documents, or that may affect the price the buyer is willing to pay for the target. Sometimes an M&A solicitor might be working on 4 or 5 different transactions at any one time, but other times one large transaction may demand 100% of the solicitor's capacity. Similarly, the size of the team and the number of specialists dedicated to a particular deal may vary depending on the timeline, the complexity, the sector, the regulatory and political environment and scale of the particular transaction, and the way in which the matter partner prefers to service his or her clients. There could be a small team comprising a trainee solicitor working with one partner and one associate, or a much larger team with 2 partners and 5 or 6 associates and trainee solicitors, each responsible for different aspects of the transaction. What makes a successful M&A lawyer? Being a successful M&A lawyer is not just about getting the deal done, although completion is certainly one of the most exciting and rewarding aspects of the job. Building a strong foundation of core skills is as important for an M&A lawyer as in any other discipline. Some of the most important qualities that M&A lawyers hone over the course of their career include knowing the law, effective time management, commercial awareness, and people skills. So all of those things are very important. The realities of the job. Whilst it's fair to say that late nights and weekend work are par for the course at critical points in the life cycle of a transaction, signing and completion are crunch times, there are peaks and troughs, with busier periods often followed by quieter times with normal working hours. The demanding and sometimes unpredictable hours on cross-border transactions spanning multiple time zones can be challenging, but are often required of trainees and junior lawyers because they are so heavily involved in the transaction and instrumental to its success and completion. It is this early responsibility and high degree of involvement that helps make this practice area so professionally rewarding. There is also a great sense of accomplishment in helping clients achieve their goals. The fast pace and relatively quick turnover of deals also means that junior lawyers are encouraged to learn on the job and can enjoy an excellent variety of work and become familiar with a variety of businesses across multiple sectors. Great, so that's the end of this episode. I hope you found it useful and that you learned something new. You can access the full article from this episode on the Lex 100 website at bit.ly/M&A 2020, all lowercase, and you can find the links in the show notes. And of course, if you're interested in reading other publications from Skadden, then head over to skadden.com. Finally, don't forget to answer my question. Do you work, or would you like to work, with mergers and acquisitions? Why? Send me an email to louise@studylegalenglish.com or join me on social media. Just search for Study Legal English or Legal Englisher. Then my final point is, if you're a Podcast Pro member, do head over to studylegalenglish.com for all of your member benefits. So thank you for listening and see you next time.